Many Batman stories revolve around a similar premise. Gotham is terrorized by a clown with a rictus grin, a whip-cracking cat burglar, or dumpty little man with delusions of grandeur. And while these icons endure for good reason, there's a danger in familiarity. It basically narrows the world. That's why I think Beware the Batman is such an interesting show. Instead of reusing the same old rogues we already know, the series made a conscious pivot. It dug into the dusty corners of Gotham's criminal underworld, pulling out names that even lifelong fans might only vaguely recall. They treated these obscure characters as opportunities, and in Magpie they found a glittering one. While Magpie had existed in the comics for decades, few would have called her memorable. Before Beware the Batman reimagined her as a fractured psyche in leather and feathers, she was little more than a footnote. And if you've never heard of her, well, I can't say that I blame you, because she was incredibly obscure. Magpie debuted in the pages of Superman Man of Steel #3, which depicted the first post-crisis team-up of Batman and Superman. Now, magpies are known for two things. The first, and this may just be a UK thing, is that they're considered to be quite ominous. So much so that there's a nursery rhyme that tells people the secret meaning behind seeing gatherings of magpies in the wild. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret never to be told. They're also known for being quite intelligent birds that have a lust for all things that glisten and shine. And this is also true of the Batman rogue. Margaret Pye, get it, was a curator at Gotham City Museum who had an overwhelming urge to collect all things shiny. Over time, her obsession with hoarding pretty things became an illness, and she had a complete mental breakdown when she came to realise that she couldn't possibly own everything. As mentally ill people tend to do in Gotham City, she decided to become a costume supervillain and take out her frustrations on the world. She swapped the shiny things she had stolen for deadly objects, like switching precious gems for explosive replicas. She doesn't have any superpowers, just a weird compulsion and a complete disregard for human life, like pretty much every third person in Gotham City, right? Most of the time, she is easily defeated, usually by distracting her with a shiny object or by reminding her that it simply isn't possible to own absolutely everything. Over the decades, she has made only a handful of comic book appearances, and none of them were all that significant. One thing worth mentioning, however, is that she appeared in 2004's Arkham Asylum Living Hell miniseries, which Beware the Batman mined for obscure characters like Junkyard Dog, Lunkhead and Humpty Dumpty. Magpie also had a minor role in this series as Poison Ivy's cellmate. The pair attempted to escape during the demonic infestation and were briefly transformed into hideous beasts. It wasn't a major role, but it is still worth mentioning. Aside from this, Magpie was mostly used as a background character, seen at the meeting when Bruno Mannheim took over Gotham's organised crime families during the year-long 52 storyline in 2006, and was later killed by the Tallyman at the orders of the Great White Shark during the 1 year later event. In 2009, her corpse was reanimated as a Black Lantern during the Blackest Night crossover, but once again she was relegated to the background as a cameo. With comics being comics, Magpie returned in the pages of 2014's Batman Eternal, following DC's continuity reset as part of the New 52 era. But that was after Beware the Batman started airing, so it's not really relevant to this video. I had to mention it though, because I know that someone would get upset demanding to know why I didn't bring it up. In 2013, Magpie debuted in the Beware the Batman episode Secrets, which opens with her shocking a man with a golden headpiece. Magpie's costume is a streamlined version of the comic book one, but it removes the red elements and gives her a less distinct wig. Her overall look plays up the connection to the bird. It's just black and white with a feathery neckpiece. Her appearance is somewhat reminiscent of Lady Gaga, although to be fair I could see her wearing the original comic book Magpie costume as well. Magpie doesn't disclose why she's attacking this man, but at the end of the assault his mind has been wiped and he has no idea who he is anymore. Over the course of the episode, we learn that Magpie was a woman on a quest of self-discovery. Or should that be self-rediscovery? She had been a small-time criminal named Margaret Sorrow, there's a reference to that nursery rhyme, who signed up for an experimental procedure in order to get an early release from prison. The theory was that if they could erase the criminal elements from Sorrow's mind, then she'd no longer be a criminal and it would be safe to release her. While Sorrow gladly took part in the experiment, her entire mind was wiped, suggesting that her entire personality was being a criminal. And she was given a new identity, including a new face. To make everything official, the authorities declared Sorrow dead and staged a mock funeral for her, complete with headstone and an empty casket. Sorrow's new identity was Cassie, a receptionist for Dr. Bethany Ravencroft, who had been part of the team that had wiped her mind. It is important to note that Dr. Ravencroft had no idea that Cassie was Sorrow, but it's interesting that the two worked together. This suggests that perhaps things didn't quite go to plan and that some part of Sorrow remained beneath the surface. Cassie had no idea she was once Margaret Sorrow, but her subconscious remembered, and in the void something new took root: Magpie. In an attempt to get her memories back and restore herself, Magpie went after the team that experimented on her, stealing their equipment and wiping their minds along the way, which brought her into conflict with Batman. Magpie's base of operations was the abandoned Miskatonic Psychiatric Hospital, a reference to the town and university from the works of H.P. Lovecraft. This place acts as a precursor to Arkham Asylum, which itself got its name from Lovecraft's work, and indicates that on some level Magpie knows that she is mentally unwell. Batman tracks her to the hospital because of her compulsion to collect shiny things, in this case a stapler from the hospital, which she had kept in Dr. Ravencroft's office. One of the side effects of the procedure is that Magpie no longer feels physical pain, so she can take and dish out quite a beating. When Batman snares her as she leaps over a building, Magpie simply cuts the rope, falling dozens of feet and landing on a car. She surprises Batman by dusting herself off and running away. A normal person would have been incapacitated by such a fall. Magpie specialises in using the muscle relaxant curare on her talons. She only uses doses small enough to incapacitate her enemies rather than kill them. When she poisons Batman, she takes the opportunity to attempt to wipe his mind, so that he'll stop trying to stop her from getting her revenge. The irony is that Magpie is unaware that Sorrow willingly signed up for the procedure to get out of prison and have a fresh start. So Magpie has been harming the people that had helped her. When Batman escapes, he stamps on the headpiece to ensure that no one else had to suffer the same fate, while at the same time preventing Magpie from getting her memories back, which she does not take very well. When confronted with the truth, Magpie refuses to believe that she was to blame for her own memory loss. She cannot accept that she is not a persecuted victim, and in her rage, gets knocked into the equipment and shocked into unconsciousness. After Batman defeated Magpie, she was sent to Blackgate Prison, which really didn't seem like the right place for her. She was mentally disturbed, and Batman notes that she really needed to be sent to a hospital, but it just simply wasn't an option. As such, Batman took the time to visit her, partly to try to keep her grounded, but mostly because he recognised something in her. Her civilian identity had been completely consumed by Magpie, and he feared that the same thing was happening to him. But he didn't tell her that. This led to her developing an infatuation with him, as seen in the episode Attraction. Magpie becomes incredibly possessive of Batman, and seeing him with Katana enrages her. She tells herself that Katana has forced herself on Batman, and that he needs her help to break free from Katana's influence. In order to save Batman, Magpie orchestrates a breakout by manipulating the simple lunkhead, who she betrays almost immediately and sets out to destroy Katana. Magpie refuses to listen to Batman and believes that he is under Katana's influence. She attempted to kill Katana by burying her alive in the same graveyard where her fake funeral had taken place. Despite Batman's efforts to get through to her, Magpie refused to accept reality and instead lashed out. In the end, Batman and Katana team up to defeat her, kicking her into her own grave. And it's ironic that Magpie would be defeated by the falling gravestone of Margaret Sorrow, pinned down in her own empty grave. Magpie's final appearance came at the end of the first half of the season, where she and the rest of the rogues were released by Ra's al Ghul to capture Batman in the episode Reckoning. Ra's fatal mistake was to offer a reward, control of an area of Gotham, to the individual that defeated Batman. As such, the rogues competed against each other, which Batman exploited. Magpie is last seen battling with Professor Pig, while Batman slinks off into the darkness. Beware the Batman was well known for taking obscure Batman villains and giving them a fresh coat of paint. Out of all the villains they used, I think Magpie was probably their best adaptation. They took the core concept of an unstable woman that was obsessed with shiny objects and added some emotional depth to her. Magpie was a hollow woman, someone who felt like she was missing something in her life, and she filled that void with objects. The irony was that she had willingly inflicted this emptiness on herself, and in the process lost her mind. She could very well have just lived her life as Cassie, but she had an ache that couldn't be satisfied. It's interesting that she always imagined that she had enemies, first Dr. Ravencroft, then Katana, when in reality she barely entered their thoughts. Similarly, she told herself that she and Batman had a deep and meaningful connection, but really Batman felt sorry for her and was also worried about himself. I don't think that it's unfair to say that the comic book original was a pretty forgettable character, someone who was used as a means of proving the seriousness of other villains, first Bruno Mannheim threatening to kill her, and then the Great White Shark actually killing her. But Beware the Batman's Magpie plays with a similar idea, a lack of sense of self, and runs with it in a different direction. She's less of a joke and more sad. She has no idea who she is and really has a hard time telling who other people are. Like so many of Batman's foes, she was more than just a criminal. She was a fractured soul, pieced together from trauma, obsession, and the failure of institutions that promised to help her. She wasn't evil, just broken in a way that Gotham knows all too well. There's something sad about Magpie's arc in Beware the Batman. Margaret Sorrow willingly erased herself in the hope of becoming someone better. But what she got was not redemption nor peace, only a different kind of prison. She was haunted by a self she couldn't remember and sought a truth she couldn't face. In that way, she wasn't so different from Batman. Both wear masks to escape the pain of who they were. Both are trapped by compulsion. His for justice, hers for glittering objects and shattered memories. With that in mind, it's not at all surprising that Batman chose to visit her in Blackgate. He sees the path she's on and fears it mirrors his own. In a world where identities are fragile and madness is always close at hand, Magpie acts as a warning for Batman. She wasn't a marquee name. She'll never be the star of the show. The best she's achieved is getting killed by the real villain, also see HBO's The Penguin series. But Magpie matters because Beware the Batman made her matter. In a single season, the show elevated a forgotten footnote into a tragic symbol of lost identity and unhealed wounds. In doing so, it reminded us that Batman's world isn't just about arch nemesis and threats to all of Gotham City. It's also about the broken people who fall through the cracks and the Dark Knight who tries to catch them. Okay, that's it for this week's essay. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, tell all your friends about me. You know how YouTube works. If you really enjoyed the video and have the means, please consider making use of the thanks button to send a buck or two my way, because every little helps. I offer channel memberships for $1.99 a month. This will get you early access to my weekly video essay, priority responses to your comments, members-only videos, custom emojis, and an icon on your profile indicating that you're one of my people. And special thanks to my channel members. Everyone who was a member at the time of this video's creation is listed on the screen right now. If you want to see your name amongst all these wonderful people, join the channel now. Next time, I'll be back on Friday to talk about one of the most comically absurd figures in Batman the Animated Series. He had the distinct honour of being known as the man who killed Batman. It's Sidney Debris, Sid the Squid. And next Monday I'm going to be looking at what I think is the absolute best episode of the new Batman Adventures. Yes! I want to talk about the doomed love story that is Growing Pains, and how it's pretty much the only Robin story that I like. Hope to see you then.